what we've got, chaps.
Hey folks, this is Picohan on the North American server, and this is the Tier 8 British cruiser, the Edinburgh. The map is Atlantic, it is Domination, it is a mid-tier game, and shoutouts to Sherman in the Lightning and Kronos in the Massachusetts. So, the Edinburgh. Most people would consider the Fiji to be pretty strong at Tier 7, but I think the opinions on the Edinburgh are kind of mixed. My own opinion is that it's an okay ship. It's very similar to all the other British cruisers, so I'm not exactly sure why people do or don't really have trouble playing it, given that they've done well in the Fiji or the Leander. The general gist here is, of course, the same as the Fiji or the Leander. You find a safe spot to smoke up, and you just start spamming. The problem is, this map is not very good for that, given how much open space there is. The problem with smoking up out in the open is, of course, it's very easy to get screwed if you have to leave your smoke for a variety of reasons, whether it's like radar or torps or plane torps and so on and so forth. Even if you aren't forced to leave your smoke, there can be situations where you can't kill an enemy ship that will spot you when the smoke expires, so you just want to leave yourself an easy out if you can. So I smoked up near this island at the southeast of B, and as far as this map goes, this is a pretty okay spot for Royal Navy cruisers and like radar cruisers, because you can cover the cap if anybody's trying to push it. The problem is no one's actually going to the middle, so this is pretty uneventful, and I'm actually going to fast forward it a bit. I do run Hydro here to watch for torps, but luckily they ran out. Ideally, I should also move back and forth a little bit in the smoke, but it's hard to be vigilant about that. The enemy Belfast shows us how not to smoke up in the open here. His smoke expired and he got spotted, and even though he tried to re-smoke, he was too close and he gets killed. That being said, my position also becomes a little bit tenuous after my smoke ran out, because I did get spotted a bit from the front and then from the Belfast when I backed up, but we're leaving now. I'm going north here, and you could argue that this isn't really the best strategic decision, because our team has won the cap and are actually pushing the enemy back. The problem is that the tactical nature of the Edinburgh just doesn't lend itself well to what is happening down there. Aside from all the open water, which I mentioned as a problem earlier, the Edinburgh can't provide its own spotting. So, with the King George dead and a cyclone coming in as well, the spotting situation in the south is going to be really dire by the time I get there. So what I'm going to do instead is try to help mop up all the enemy ships up here in the north, and then hopefully our team can defend B, while the red team pushes from the south, since we've already capped it. I took some pot shots against the Cleveland while open watering because I thought I would get behind this island. Planes kept me spotted for a little bit, but we do drop off. I'm gonna keep pushing toward this island though, because it looks like the Cleveland might want to come around. And if I can keep this corner between me and the Cleveland, there will be a good chance that I can shoot at him while he can't shoot at me. And this is a tactic you can use in any ship really, not just the Edinburgh. Unfortunately, the Cleveland doesn't actually want to come through. He turns out we're not able to get amazing damage on him, but he gets taken out by a Mogami Torp.
I'm going to pop a heal here while the fire is still burning. This may be a little bit suboptimal, but I want to use this heal before I engage the Mogami again, since he looks like he's going to do the same maneuver as the Cleveland, and I want to get his broadside. I ran Hydro to try to detect him behind the island, but we get into line of sight before he gets into Hydro range. Here, I might have messed up a bit. I should have taken the shot before launching the torps. I think I missed the perfect angle to get citadels, and I couldn't get the front guns off because I overturned. That being said, we do get okay damage on him, but he gets pretty good damage on us too. And here's the thing with the British cruisers: you have the super heal, but you really need it, given how much damage you can take when people can actually shoot at you. The earlier use of Hydro helps us dodge the Mogami's torps, but then our torps didn't make contact as well. I felt like my torp aim was actually decent, just that the Mogami had turned enough at that point for them to miss. The next target is the Massachusetts, who's trying to push into C. I wanted to try to get around this corner before we got into the 8-kilometer cyclone spotting range, but that didn't happen, so I decided to smoke instead because it seemed like he was targeting me. This is a bit dangerous because when a Royal Navy cruiser is stopping is oftentimes the best time to take a shot, but it looks like the Massachusetts did not have his gun cooldown, or his guns were looking somewhere else. So now I have a really good opportunity to farm this guy while the New Orleans is spotting for me. Broadside stationary targets like that are some of the best food for Royal Navy light cruisers, and we got a pretty good chunk of damage in before the New Orleans gets into cover and stops spotting him. I'm leaving the smoke early because we have no vision, and I don't want to be surprised by the Massachusetts, who's actually quite close. We do manage to clip him with a torp, and here's the corner trick I've been getting at. He can't actually shoot at me, while I can shoot at him. The problem is I was moving a little bit too fast, and I couldn't finish him off. So now this guy's a one-shot, but we have no vision. I tried using Hydro again, but we make line of sight again, and I take my one shot, but he also gets a shot. And I take a ton of damage trying to secure that kill. We did save the New Orleans, though, who looked like he was also a one-shot. Popped a heal again, but this is the other problem with the super heal. A lot of times you just can't heal that much. And that is even though the Edinburgh, Neptune, and Minotaur have improved Citadel healability. I was making a run for the island in front of me when the Cleveland kind of caught me by surprise. Originally, I started a turn out because he wasn't aiming at me, but then I did cut back in, and I didn't cut back out until he was almost dead. If he had been ready with AP loaded, he probably could have punished us very hard. But I think he was just as unprepared to see me as I was to see him. So now we're in a pretty good protected area where we can try to deal with the rest of the enemy team. The problem is they're all top tier and they're all pretty healthy, and we just lost that near dead New Orleans. Luckily though, Cyclone has lifted and we have some spotting, so we're going to smoke up and see what we can do. Getting some okay damage on the broadside turpits, but he's going to drop off and we're gonna have to work on the closer one, who is unfortunately angled and pushing us. I drop some torps in his path, but I'm also starting to reverse aggressively because an Edinburgh shooting in smoke gets detected at 5.5, and he is now closer than that. And this is the sort of situation that you need to protect yourself against. He was pretty far away when I started smoking up, and now he's basically in YOLO Torp range. I backed up hard against this island such that both sides of Torps would be up by the time the Bismarck came around. The Bismarck hard spots me at 3 kilometers, so he's actually running the target acquisition mod, and I actually have to run Hydro to pick him back up because he's behind an island relative to Sherman in the middle. Despite all his preparation, Bismarck did not look like he wanted to slow down, so I put Torps right on the white line and we're going to land some good hits. Bismarck does take some shots, but his secondaries actually do more damage than his main battery there. Now we need to fight the Turpits as well, and at first all I want to do is put this island between me and him and see which way he wants to go around, though it looks like it's the
south side. This part is actually a bit interesting. I popped smoke as soon as I saw the turpits, purely as a line of sight block, because he's in my detection range while firing in smoke. The funny part is that my secondaries can still fire at him, so I'm just going to let those do a little bit of work while I keep the smoke cloud between myself and the turpits. I wanted to launch the right side torps, but they were on cooldown and they also got knocked out. But coming around, I'm able to get the other side off, even though it's a miss. Now it's basically just a waiting game with a minute and 15 left on the clock. I'm just going to ring around the island with this turpits. This is a little bit dangerous because he could have cut back to my front side and I might not have been able to back up around as fast as he could go forward, but he comes around from the back and we have no problem avoiding him. Either way, even if the turpits had taken me out, dragging him all the way here to C means that we have all the caps and we have a big points advantage as well, so the win was probably secure either way. So that's the Edinburgh, basically a big destroyer like the rest of the British cruisers. This was a pretty good game with 3 kills, 136,000 damage, and some torp hits as well. We were top of the team by a little bit, but what I like about this game was using all the consumables, which I think is kind of a cute feat. That being said, this is the end of the video, so have a nice day.